Hey, it's Jessica Rendon. I'm gonna say this is part 2 of the video I just made. Now, if you've seen my alien abduction readings, you know that they begin with a general intuitive reading, an energetic reading, and then they go into the automatic writing portion, which can validate the initial reading, or sometimes it's like a little different. So I'll provide both. I seem to get more detailed results from automatic writing. So here it goes. So when I first saw who created the complexes, so I'm just gonna group them all together. I saw something that looked like a giant, and then a much shorter person up to the knees of the giant, so a small person. And then that's all I saw. I didn't really go into, okay, so I didn't really go into depth about any other being, but there's another group of beings there. And they were described as little loaves of bread. They look like little loaves of bread with little nubs for appendages. This is by far the most strange reading I've ever given. Let's see. They were also described as orchids. I don't know. This is just bizarre. But anyway, I'm going to go into that. You can't write this shit, really. So what it appeared as giants they're from the Orion, they say in the South Pole. I'm guessing not the South Pole of our world, but the South Pole in Orion, whichever that is. No, they actually said the South Pole, which is, if you're familiar with that, there's it's just water. Anyway, there's rock underneath that, but yeah, okay. Put there long before an old enemy that exists there. They said we built this cave system to foresee old pals in our galaxy. It took many months to create them. We put a greater knowing inside its walls, superior ones. They actually use the word hydroponic, which is a way to grow plants without soil. But he's saying they grow through the air in the cave system. Okay. If you stare long at it enough, it'll vaporize you. Yeah, that's that. Okay, it'll feel like sinking, and you'll move little by little until finally you are gone. And the purpose is to intelligently claim you, to make it clear we move people from realm to realm. Inside the walls, little ferrous minerals or ferrous oxides composed of lightning rods display this odd warnings like motion detectors. They sound like a ring. That's what it sounds like. Then you move to us little by little. We take you into a tour of the underground weaponry. Little by little, you fill us with know-how. We put you into our time portal to return yearly, and we move you securely through. You don't leave wanting. We've had many come this way, little by little, formed a barrier to outside to prepare others from seeking guidance like this. but many still have come somehow. Okay, so they like to give others an option to leave or come. That's my dog. To feel warranted to remain or not. And I asked, what's the purpose? Galaxy commands. It sends us data we must react to, and this allows us to perform this. Okay. And I said, very simply, do you eat people? This is bizarre. Not really. We just send them off for more knowledge to come back to. Okay, now I consulted one of my guides who happens, well, I have a couple of guides that happen to be giants, right? I was like, what is this? And he said, they're well-meaning, but they're from a hidden realm that not many access, and it's their way of allowing themselves to give wisdom and know-how to the people on the surface. Now, one of the reasons why they typically don't come to them is because energetically they look like giants, and he's saying they smile a lot, but all that the people see when they are absorbed or sink into whatever, I don't know if it's in the cave system or the actual hall. He says it's the cave system. That what they remember are seeing the jaws move on the giant. And he's got like fangs too. I mean, yeah, it's kind of freaky, but if you have the eyes to see, you'll see they're of amazing color and light. And he uses the term spectacle. And they range this so they can have joy and understanding as well. So you kind of swap information with them. Okay. Now, it's interesting, they said that they formed a barrier to this area so people won't come anymore, but I also got in the reading that it's been waiting to be discovered, like for about 40 years or so. So I'm not sure. Okay, they wanted to be discovered, but they don't wish for anyone else to remain with them because some people choose to remain with them. And they wish that people may enjoy the learning, but leave again. So no more house guests. So as long as, yeah, they're okay with that, and clearly the area's open again because of Radu's work, Cesar's work, the Romanian intelligence agency. So I'm hoping it'll be a positive outcome for everyone. Okay, so now I questioned about the little people I originally saw. Come on. Whatevs. Anyway, they kind of look like elves in height. It looked like they were wearing clothes like brown pants, maybe a jacket, kind of loose. But that's how they appear energetically again. So they're not actually that. It says they're short, strange beings that look too thin to be creating this complex. It seems they move themselves quickly through time to achieve it. They wished to, and this is why they built it, they wished to know the difference of evolved and not so evolved people. Okay, that makes sense. They procure an elegant disguise of seeming mineral, but are actually beings from the stars. They stand there, look at you, and move you into their cosmos. They look like giant squares with gold within. So I'm guessing they look crystalline, like a crystal with some gold inside. What color? I'm getting deep purple, somewhat brown looking. Are they transparent? Highly transparent. Okay. Now let's look to the little loaves of bread. Those beings, they have little nubs or little tails too, and sort of a mouth. They helped us train to receive greater knowing. So they train the people that go, the humans that go into this complex. They said we allowed it to be our underground facility for remarkable recovery of knowledge, and thinking that they wish to understand great things, and that is their purpose. I asked them if they were like crystal. And they said, you can say that, but we struggle in between realms. So we have here, as we look as brightly lit sparkles of light that light the cave system. We move people in and out of dimensions and allow them to come to us. So I said, if I were to see you, if I was physically there, what would I see, right? Scary beings. Not something you would intuit as grateful or humble looking beings, but we have here as pyramids or strange complexes that appear volatile. We look somewhat like a thorn in the flesh or a mighty concurrence of flame. Okay, so in the book, crystals were used at the very entrance of the hall and the projection chamber. I'm wondering if they're referring to that. Oh, those for protection. Okay. So where in that area were you? I'm getting the actual hall itself, maybe at the top in the ceiling. They're saying they lit the system. So, and in the lighting in the actual cave that led from Romania to Egypt that I just read about, it had different lighting. Sometimes it was green, sometimes it was what they described as phosphorescent, so I'm guessing it glowed. And then at times it would be violet. But it maintained an energetic feel of being able to be in a certain energetic space, like very calming. And I'm wondering if that was what the little loaves of bread initiated. They said, yep, that's us. We did that. And it's because we seek intelligence and wisdom as well. So it's like Grandma's house made of cookies and Hansel and Gretel, but Grandma is lets you look at her library and says, come back later. It's benevolent Grandma. Okay, so that was very different than I imagined. I imagined it was sort of a lab of advanced beings, which it represents that, but if you take it in as a library to be learned from, I think you won't be disappointed, and a place of great enlightenment, it seems. And it's interesting how they accomplished this. But in the beginning of, I believe, Transylvanian Sunrise, they talk about in Romania, there's people have disappeared before, not necessarily from this area that they, in the Busegi Mountains, that complex that is talked about, but there's a story of a man who saw something sticking out of the mountain. I think it was gold in color, and he touched it and he disappeared. And eventually it was like, I think the government just ground it down and covered it up or something. But I'm wondering if those are the same people, the beings that created that. Oh, they said we have many ways of transforming people. And there's another smaller cave that they haven't investigated. Okay. But automatic writing really shed some light on this. I wouldn't have imagined what came out, but I hope you enjoyed it. And read the books. Maybe it'll kind of enlighten you as to some of the information, because they look at it in a very scientific way. And I think it could be beneficial. Thank you.